today's video, we're talking about OTAs observations. Now, generally speaking in my videos, I'm always showing myself. Not today. I just wanted to show you the pictures of OTAs. And there's a lot of pictures that I'm putting out there, so you've seen my face 5 million times, so why not talk about the observations with the photos? It gives you a little idea kind of what's going on right here. I thought that would be a little bit different for you guys here. So that's what today's video is about, is the observation of OTAs. If you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, I would suggest go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Why is that? Because we're talking Lions news literally every single day. Now we're kind of going twice a day here. And if you want to keep up to date, this channel has that for you. So let's go ahead and get into the observations for OTAs on day 3. Let's start with the quarterback position here, and we'll just rotate pictures for you guys. And not so much to say here about Jared Goff's day. He was without his safety blanket, Amon-Ra St. Brown, so a lot of his targets went to Sam LaPorta. It wasn't particularly a great day for the backups. Hendon Hooker was QB2 for a day and missed several deep shots. During the individual drills, he overshot Tim Patrick, them during 11-on-11s. He overthrew running back Kyle Ratledge and wide receiver Jackson Meeks. Kyle Allen tested the defense deep twice, and 2, he misfired both times. 1 to Khalif Raymond. The other to nobody in particular. So definitely the backup quarterback position has not been looking too great so far into OTAs. Wow, big deal, right? I mean, we're literally day 3 of OTAs. You got a new quarterback in Kyle Allen. No one really expects anything, and the other one is Hendon Hooker, who is developing. Now, I think if Hendon Hooker is not developing, by training camp this year, that's concerning, and I think that at that point, maybe the Lions would make a decision, right? Because you have to develop after some time. We did invest money and draft pick into him, but unlike Broderick Martin, where we actually trade up to, he was not that big of a deal. Folks, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Again, we're just trying to grow the channel. That's all we're trying to do here. Let's go to the running back position. Next on the docket here says, with no David Montgomery, we saw a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs and Craig Reynolds with the ones. And without getting into specifics, it certainly seemed like the Lions are playing around different ways that they can use Gibbs. Robichaud got a significant amount of use given the Lions' reserves without Savoni Vaki. He flashed with some explosiveness, but it's hard to gauge running back play without anyone tackling. I'm not too worried about the running back position. Like I said, Montgomery went out there. Jahmyr Gibbs, they're testing what he can do. This is to be expected. Jahmyr Gibbs is an amazing player. They're going to want to use him in different facets. We already know what he can bring there, to be honest. Tight ends, as mentioned earlier, says Goff to LaPorta connection was alive and well. Shane Zylstra also flashed a couple of times in receiving game, including sliding catch on the pass from a scrambling Allen. Lions offense, regardless who's out there with weapons, everyone was concerned about Sam LaPorta last year, and I just told folks, it's not Sam LaPorta. It's not. You don't got to worry about Sam LaPorta. It's just because the Lions have so freaking many weapons. He can't give it to everybody else. So it's not his play dropped off. There's only so many footballs that Jared Goff can throw around, and that's why. So St. Brown, is it in there? Who does it go to? It goes to Sam LaPorta, and that's what Jared Goff's throwing to. And we're going to talk about Jared Goff here maybe in a later video today, because I want to talk about that situation, but we're going to go ahead and just keep with the OTAs right now. The wide receiver position says it was relatively quiet day for Mr. Jameson Williams, but he was noticeably a bit bigger out there, although he said he's only put on 5 pounds of strength. And actually, putting 5 pounds of muscle on is very hard. Okay, so if he put on 5 pounds of muscle in a couple of months, he is really grinding. I want people to understand this, because it's quite difficult to put on 5 pounds a month this quick, especially he's a skinny guy with a high metabolism, who is someone who's really skinny myself. Kudos to Jameson Williams. Put on 5 pounds of muscle. That's dedication, and it's going to help him. Dominic Lovett and Tom Kennedy are arguably the most frequent targets out there, and it's easy to see that the rookies thrives right now. 7-on-7 to minimal contact. He is shifty, fast, and challenge and be in pads now. Although the best receiver out there is Tim Patrick, sporting the brand new 12, he is strong over the middle, finding soft spots and zones and flexing his good hands. we all know about the Detroit Lions offense and the wide receivers and all of that lovely stuff. We know that this offense is going to be good, and it's Tim Patrick's doing his thing, so not a big deal there. Now let's get into really the most important stuff that I think that we can talk about, and that's talking about the Detroit Lions offensive line. Offensive line is what I've been wanting to do and get to know of. And so here's the starting offensive line with no Frank Ragnow. Remember, Frank Ragnow will be in the lineup. But Taylor Decker, left tackle. Christian Mahogany, starting left guard. Now remember, Frank Ragnow's there. He would be the starting center. But Tate Ratledge is backup center here. So it looked like he's going to be the guy that's probably going to get a lot of the backup reps. We already seen that in the rookie stuff, but we're seeing it now with the veterans as well. Graham Glasgow, right guard. That one scares me. He didn't perform well right guard last year. We'll see how this progresses in training camp. But I would expect he at least by week one, he'll be a different person there. And Penei Sewell, obviously, right tackle. It says, I did not see Ratledge take a single snap other than at center during practice, so it's clear that Detroit's serious about cross-training him, and they're 100% serious. And there's a lot of mixing and matching with the second, third strings, but Giovanni Manu left and Dan Skipper right were predominantly backup tackles. If I had to label over the second guards, in the Tate Muti, Kayudi Usika, the most at times. So this is still going on the fact that Manu is progressing. And by the way, give me a one-word reaction to Giovanni Manu progressing, because he has progressed a lot. So we got to give credit to Giovanni Manu, and I think Brad Holmes' smart decision by getting a player late in the draft who has a high physical trait. He's getting better, and this is all that I've been hearing. So this is true. Perhaps the most shocking development was one of Colby Sorsdale was in at center. And it didn't last long. There's a low snap there. It certainly is noticeable, and they're trying to find a place for the third-year lineman. And I'm going to tell you right now, he's not going to be on the team. Kingwood Kukin and Michael Anise took over at this short experiment. Great news there with the offensive line, except for the Graham Glasgow thing. But again, he's the veteran. They're always going to put the veteran first. Defensive line, if Aidan Hutchinson was limited to practice, it wasn't by much. He had plenty of playing time, and quite honestly, he looked just as explosive as ever. I have been telling you folks, don't worry about Aidan Hutchinson. Everybody is freaked. Oh, I didn't think there would be rust. There's a broken bone, not ligaments. Marcus Davenport also stood out. Literally, it was a good reminder just how big he is, 6'6", 285, compared to every other edge rusher out there. He's able to knock down the pass. Penei Sewell opposite of him. He's also later jumped offsides during the 4th and 15 situational drills, handing the win to the offense. And look, I know Marcus Davenport's a big guy. I know what he can do on the field. I know he's a strong guy. I know what he can do. He is a big dude. I'm not concerned about that. It's his ability to stay on the field, and I think we all should be there. Elsewhere, there was a neat moment in the final 11-on-11 drills from rookie Ahmed Hassanin. He pulled off a nitty move inside the right tackle, got to the quarterback, and hit the brakes before hitting him. He immediately turned and pointed where the rest of the defensive linemen and defensive lines coach Casey Rogers were and let out several roars. Pat O'Connor may have helped the best reps of any lineman during 11-on-11. He got a great jump snap, slipped the interior lineman, and got to the quarterback in about 2 seconds. Chris Smith and Lloyd Lopez got first team work with now DJ Reedy, Levi Uzurike, Makai Wingo, and Lee McNeil practicing. One thing to keep in mind here is that Jack Campbell is also at which other players at the side of the ball stuck out to him as far. Answer is Chris Smith. Lee McNeil, look, he's practicing, but he's not going to be playing anytime soon. Just FYI, it's more like stretching and stuff like that. Linebackers, no Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone. It was the opportunity for Detroit Lions depth. Newcomers Zach Cunningham, Trevor Nowaski, and Grant Stewart all had time in the first team reps. During the walkthrough, Stewart got a helmet knocked off and nearly started a scrum, which is probably the best display of Stewart's intensity. Yeah, so look, it's OTAs. You didn't get to see starters. Weird, what they got from them anyway. So you get to see somebody else. Cornerbacks, again, for some interesting names out there. DJ Reed, he had plenty and played sparingly, leaving Ennis Rakestraw and Rocky Sin spend time with the working the starters. On the outside, Rakestraw had a very nice and up and down A, nearly picked off Goff during 7-on-7, but struggled in other opportunities. Remember, Ennis Rakestraw is kind of like a rookie at this point. He hardly played due to injury. And he's a second round. It's going to take a little bit of time. As we know, we talked about corners take a little bit of time. I'm not concerned about Ennis. I'm really actually excited for the future for Lions of cornerback position with him and Terrion Arnold. Give me one player in the comment that you're really excited to hear about in the comments below. Safeties, Avonte Maddox filled in for Brian Branch at safety alongside Kirby Joseph. Joseph have an active day, with highlighted being a diving pass breakup intended for Khalif Raymond. On special teams, the Lions ran some drills on Friday. On note, Lauren Strickland and Grant Stewart served as personal protectors, while Yasin and Reichstraw served as first gunners up. Other players serving the gunner drills is Lovett, Patrick, Kopobi, Keeney James, and Ronnie Bell. Keeney James actually rotated between gunners and punt returner, perhaps expanding his role. Yeah, a lot of people right now are just trying to make the team, and they know that the depth is hard. Special teams is where you do it. Everybody knows this. This may have been one of the loudest OTAs ever witnessed. Lions coaches were barking at each other at the levels that challenged the good old days of Deuce Staley and Aaron Glenn, and I absolutely love that. That is something I love to see. Love it. A funny, briefly scary moment during individual drills. LaPorta was running a route over the middle when he accidentally collided with offensive coordinator John Morton, who was not looking in his direction. LaPorta went trembling to the ground while Morton was unscathed. The Lions tight end immediately got up and threw his towel in the air, pretending to call a penalty on Morton. Thankfully, no one was injured. Yeah, you don't want to have injuries there at all, especially in OTAs. You're talking about hitting your OC. So I'm glad that nothing was going on, nothing long term. We don't need no injuries from OTAs. That would be absolutely brutal. That would be brutal. So right now, I would say this is positive so far for OTAs. I think the Lions offense is going to be good. I think it's not going to take much of a downturn. There may be a tad bit of rust, but this is what I'm really looking forward to in OTAs, and not necessarily the defense as much as more the offense, right? Can the offense sustain its incredible run it had last year? Now, I think there's going to be a little bit of a downturn, but that's because Lions offense was it was historic, right? But if the Lions just continue to go, that's good. And I'm talking about with the starters, not necessarily the backup. So give me your thoughts about the Lions OTAs. I'll have another video out later today. It'll probably be about Lions news and rumors. I'll be back on the video so you can see this ugly mug. With that said, folks, adios.